Have you ever stopped to think about the engine that keeps you running every single second of every single day? Nope, it's not under the hood of a car. It's right there inside your chest. Today, we're diving into the circulatory system, your body's incredible living engine. And to really get a grip on its power, we have to start with a number that is just mind-boggling.
So how powerful is this engine? Get this, 2,000 gallons. That's roughly how much blood your heart pumps every single day. To put that in perspective, that's enough to fill a small swimming pool every day. It's just a staggering amount of work.
So that brings up a huge question, right? Your body is made of literally trillions of tiny cells, and every one of them needs supplies. And they all make waste that has to get hauled away. So how on earth does your internal engine manage the logistics of servicing every single one of them all the time?
Well, the answer is that our body has the most efficient delivery service you could ever imagine, and we call it the circulatory system. It's this amazing, complex network designed to solve that exact problem.
You know, when you boil it all down, it's about a really simple transaction. Every cell in your body needs two things to live: nutrients from the food you eat and oxygen from the air you breathe. And just like any busy factory, it produces waste, like carbon dioxide that needs to be taken out. The circulatory system, it handles both the delivery and the garbage collection. This whole system really has three main parts that work together perfectly. First, you've got the heart. That's the powerful pump. Then you've got the blood vessels, which are kind of like the highways. And finally, you have the blood itself. And that's the precious cargo being moved around.
All right, so let's start in the engine room, the heart. It's not just a symbol on a Valentine's card. It is a relentless, muscular pump that powers this entire operation without ever taking a break. I mean, just think about that workload for a second. Even when you're just sitting around, your heart is beating about 100,000 times a day. It's this incredible organ with 4 distinct chambers, all working together to keep blood moving in a very specific, super efficient pattern.
And this process shows you its brilliant two-part journey. So first, blood that's already dropped off its oxygen comes into the right side of the heart. From there, it gets a big push over to the lungs for a quick pit stop, to pick up fresh oxygen and get rid of carbon dioxide. Then, that fresh, oxygen-rich blood comes back to the left side of the heart, where it gets the final massive pump that sends it out to the entire rest of the body. It's like 2 pumps in one incredible organ.
Okay, so the blood is pumped out of the heart, but how does it get where it's going? Well, that's where the blood vessels come in. Think of it like a vast network of highways, main roads, and tiny little side streets. Now, the 2 main types of highways are arteries and veins. And here's a common mix-up. People think arteries carry good blood and veins carry bad blood. But the real rule is so much simpler. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Just remember A for away. And veins carry blood back toward the heart. That's it. Simple as that. But the real magic? That happens on the tiny side streets. See, arteries branch out into smaller and smaller vessels until they become capillaries. These things are microscopic, with walls so thin that oxygen and nutrients can pass right through them and into the cells. At the exact same time, waste products from the cells pass back into the blood to get carried away. This right here, this is the moment of delivery and pickup.
All right, so we've got the pump, we've got the highways. Now let's talk about the cargo itself, the blood. It is so much more than just a red liquid. It's a complex, living tissue that carries basically everything your body needs to survive.
And if you were to actually break down what's in your blood, you'd find it's mostly a yellowish liquid called plasma. Just floating around in that plasma are all the different cells that do the real heavy lifting. And the vast majority of those cells are red blood cells, which is what gives blood its famous red color.
And each part of this cargo crew has a super important job. The plasma, that's the river that carries everything else along. The red blood cells are like the oxygen delivery trucks. The white blood cells, they're your personal security force, fighting off invaders like bacteria. And platelets are the emergency repair crew, rushing to fix any leaks and stop you from bleeding.
So, knowing how all this works is really cool, right? But the most important part is knowing how to take care of it, because this isn't an engine you can just go out and replace. You've only got one.
So here's a quick question to connect all this to your own life. You already know the answer is yes. Of course your heart pounds when you exercise. But think about why. It's because your muscle cells are working hard, and they are screaming for more oxygen and more nutrients. Your heart, the pump, responds to that demand by kicking into high gear to get more cargo delivered faster.
Unfortunately, this system can run into problems. The most common one is heart disease. The easiest way to think about it is like a clog in your pipes. This fatty gunk called plaque can build up inside your arteries, making the highway narrower. If it gets bad, it can cause chest pain, called angina. And if one of those highways gets completely blocked, that can lead to a heart attack.
But here's the good news. We basically have the owner's manual for this engine. The key takeaway is that simple lifestyle choices can make a massive difference. Regular exercise keeps that heart muscle strong, and a diet that's low in unhealthy fats and full of nutrients helps keep those arterial highways clear and open for business.
Now, the story of the circulatory system isn't just about biology. It's also a story of incredible human innovation. So let's finish up by looking at one life-saving breakthrough that honestly changed everything.
You know, we kind of take blood transfusions for granted these days, but they are a true modern medical miracle. And the person we really have to thank for creating the systems that make them possible is an American doctor named Charles Drew.
Dr. Drew is a total pioneer. He figured out how to separate and preserve blood plasma, which, it turns out, can be stored way longer than whole blood. During World War II, his systems for collecting and banking blood saved countless lives on the battlefield. And he even invented the bloodmobile. What a revolutionary idea, to bring blood donation directly to the people. His work literally laid the foundation for the modern blood banks we have all over the world.
So think about this. By the time you're in your early 20s, your heart has probably beaten over 500 million times already. It is without a doubt the most reliable and hard-working engine you will ever own. So the final question is for you. Knowing everything you know now about how it works and what it needs, what are you going to do to protect it for the next 500 million beats and all the ones after that?